Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with Norsca. They're going to be taking on the Dwarfs, so let's get straight to it. I've brought a nice feral monster themed build here. No Famir, well, yeah, no Famir at all actually. All just marauders and beasts, so let's get to it. We've got Wulfric the Wanderer on his chariot leading the way here. He's got Hunter of Champions as well as Fight or Die. We're also looking at, of course, Sea Fang and Foe Seeker on the chariot. He's got anti-infantry armor piercing, massive charge bonus of 90 and 120 armor. We've also got Marauder chariots and Ice Wolf chariots. In general, of course, the wheeled boy is going to be good against the dwarves. Likewise, this shaman sorcerer here up on a chariot. Also, he's got flame storm for some fun, cascading fire cloak. Whoops. We all know what that does already, hopefully, and Scroll of Shielding. We've also got Feral Mammoth, 2 Feral Manticores, front line of Marauders with 2 Marauder Champions, sword and board. No great weapons here. I want to get the armor piercing out of the monsters. The infantry are just meant to hold. We've also got a couple Warhounds to push the flanks. For my opponent, he's got 2 gyrocopters, which I'm definitely glad I brought the Manticores to deal with these guys. We've also got a few miners with blasting charges, looks like 3 of them, some rangers, lots of dwarf warriors, 3 units of slayers, including the Dragonback Slayers, a runesmith, and not sure, Belagar Ironhammer, I believe. I don't know where he's at. Yep, he's back here with the Slayers, going to be leading the way for the dwarves under his own banner of Clan Angrind here. Very cool. So yeah, we'll see how this goes here. Manticores in general, I just kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. In the last patch, they got cheaper to bring just the regular Manticores, and at their current price range, 800, they actually provide a pretty nice option for a number of different factions. I don't know exactly what else they changed about Manticores, but they just seem to be a little bit better. Maybe just the 100 cost was all they needed, but I know the summoned Manticores degenerate slower, which certainly makes the Curse of Honor here much, much more useful. But you know, these regular Manticores themselves, you'll even see these quite a bit. People playing as Chaos, Norsca, Dark Elves, any faction which can bring these Feral Manticores is going to be very useful to do so. This one getting tangled up with the gyros, while the other ones are distracted by the other Manticore, which is flying around, the Rangers, that is. They're going to eventually turn and start shooting at the Manticore that is fighting the gyros. Granted, the gyros will block some of those shots, other gyros providing some overwatch fire, so we're going to bring this Manticore in here for some disruption. Of course, the Slayers, Dragonback Slayers could potentially keep this guy on the ground, but as it is, he'll be able to get in here and play, you know, I just imagine the Manticores have the personality of massive, you know, winged cats, basically. Like, they just want to, you know, play with the little balls of Dawi yarn. But anyway, this one going to get a cheeky, quick charge here. Pull those Dwarf Warriors out of position, immediately swoop back up in the air and start to take some chunks out of these gyros here. And 1-to-1, of course, gyros 800, these Manticores 800. So this is going to be more or less a 1-to-1 trade for me here. You can see the Marauders starting to make their way forward as the gyros start to get blown up. The blasting charges also being thrown in. These Marauders definitely going to get the brunt of things here as they charge in. But nonetheless, the Mammoth also going to be following up as well. Good old, what's the Mammoth from Ice Age? Sid is the Sloth. I don't remember the Mammoth's name. Someone post down below. I've totally forgotten. But anyway, going to get in here and start massacring these miners. The Rangers are focused on the Manticore still, which is obviously a very good target, but that does mean they're not going after the Mammoth, which is a very advantageous situation for me. Shaman Sorcerer just on station here. We're going to start to push up the chariots and so on. We've also got Sea Fang going down. Not going to get the best contact in the world. Gets a little bit of work done there, but honestly not the best. Wulfric also charging in with his armor piercing. You can see the Hounds pushing up and around, just kind of harassing in the flank, keeping those Slayers busy. The Rangers have turned their attention over to the Feral Mammoth, but Feral Mammoths just have a ton of HP. I mean, this guy, even with the damage he's taken, still over 80% HP, and with this nice big blob here, I've only got cheap troops. So why not call in an Overcast Flamestorm to just absolutely delete this pocket of Dawi here? Does a pretty substantial amount of damage. Unfortunately, the spread kind of goes in the direction I don't want it to, but oh, is it going to get these Dwarf Warriors? Nope. Decides to turn itself back around a little bit there. Might get some of these fleeing Rangers who are currently terrified. Probably definitely going to get some of those dogs as well. So, yeah. Definitely, I would say that Vortex spells like this are not competitive or ideal, but they certainly are a lot of fun. You can see the Manticore in here still alive, providing a nice terror route. A lot of the miners and dwarf warriors having taken a lot of damage, being terrified away, and the champions fighting, shoulder to shoulder with Wulfric here. By the way, guys, let me know if the frame rate seems a lot lower than useful. I decided to update my graphics drivers today, and it, for some reason, reset all the settings in Total War Warhammer. So I tried to go through and make sure, we're getting a solid 50 to 60 frames per second consistently. But let me know in the comments down below if it looks better, if it looks worse. I have a hard time telling sometimes, so you guys let me know if you can tell any difference. But Mammoth fighting in here against Belegar himself. Belegar will actually do pretty well 1v1 here. He's got the combat stats, certainly, and the defensive stats to be able to survive. Mammoth definitely taking some heat, but again, that high HP pool playing into it here. You can see the Dawi lines have been carved up pretty well. The chariots, not really a whole lot to challenge them at this point. There are still plenty of Slayers on the field, but they're just going to get bogged down. The champions and Marauders have been able to win this flank decisively enough that we're going to be able to kind of push through here. And yeah, beautiful cinematic battle. Dragonback Slayers getting in here. They'll do a lot of damage to these chariots, so I'm going to have to pull them away relatively soon or risk them getting dragged down. But balance of power definitely in my favor at this point. Manticore, one of them had gone to chase routing stuff. I think, yep, on his way back promptly. Another Flamestorm going to be called up right on top of these champions. Plenty of Slayers in here as well, with Dwarf Warriors and such. Probably doing a little bit of friendly fire, but these champions, they're perfectly fine to hold here. The Dawi, on the other hand, are trying to push through the Slayers and everything, but since I could see that there were a lot of Slayers in this pocket, Seafang hopefully does some damage, but I actually think that just did more friendly fire than anything. But yeah, at this point, the champions, having been hit by double friendly area of effect spells, still hanging on to their leadership, thankfully. Slayers, of course, unbreakable. But over here, Runesmith getting dragged down. You can see these Dwarf Warriors have just about given up. The Chariots have managed to get free for the most part. We're going to use them to kind of ping-pong back and forth. And, oh man, is this Flamestorm going to come delete my pocket of Marauders here? Nope, decides to turn back around, very thankfully. Unfortunately, it doesn't delete these Slayers either, who are currently dragging down the Shaman Sorcerer. Oh, maybe it'll get back on here. Oh, literally pulled just a couple of them up there, but oh, that was kind of weird. Almost like came back for a minute. It's like one of those candles that when you blow them out, it just comes back. You guys ever had those for your birthday? Anyway, Slayers making their last stand here with Belegar. We're going to throw down whatever it's called, the Hunter of Champions here on Belegar to lower his melee defense. Even still, he's up to 113 melee defense just because of all his buffs here. Revenge Incarnate, Mighty Oathstone and everything being popped. Mighty Oathstone in particular actually combines with Slayers very well. I have been seeing more of Belegar lately in Dwarf builds, and I do think that Mighty Oathstone, you combine that with certain types of builds like Hammerers or Slayers going super heavy to give them that extra melee defense and the charge defense that they lack. Really can be potentially quite powerful, but unfortunately in this particular battle, grudges will be written, and Belegar are going to be sent packing back to the hills here. You can see a couple of gyros have managed to make their way back to the battle, but Mammoth also still alive at this point, despite being very low on HP, pretty angry about the whole situation. The poor peaceful Mammoth has been dragged out here by these Norskins and probably whipped and starved, and it's okay, big buddy. You're good for now. Oh man. Oh, the trunk, though, is what terrifies me. Like, these teeth right here, it's just absolutely scary. Anyway, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Yeah, in terms of the army breakdown here, 121 at the end of the day for that Shaman Sorcerer with the double flame Vortex. Like I said, Vortex spell's definitely not ideal, but if you have a monster-heavy build where you think you might get a big blob forming around the monster, it can be potentially useful to have the Vortex spells, certainly. They're better than they used to be. And I like to have a lot of fun with them, even if there is an argument to be made for other spells. Wulfric himself racking up 69. Champions doing quite well, 88 and 82. The Manticores more or less doing their job, taking out the Gyros, which, again, that alone pays for them. Then they were also able to come in, drop some key terror routes, deal with the Rangers relatively effectively. Feral Mammoth racked up 130 kills, just super cost-effective, breaking up that nice heavy Dawi infantry. And yeah, just contributions all the way around for the Clan Angren player here. 101 kills on these Slayers. That's really, really nice. They got a couple XP chevrons, 28 and a single XP chevron for these guys, 56 on the Dragonbacks. The Slayers definitely are one of the main portions of killing power of this army, and they definitely did a lot of the work here. Unfortunately, the Gyro is one of the other main portions, able to be shut down quite effectively by the Manticores. Again, that's one of the reasons why Manticores are reasonably cost-effective now at only 800 points. The Rangers were also able to get shut down between the Manticores and the Chariots, and also the Warhounds. 82 kills on Warhounds. Mostly just use them to chase routing units, but in that role, they're super cost-effective. You can see the Dawi infantry just in general kind of struggled in the front line here. They were able to clear out the Marauders without too much trouble, but, I mean, that's what? Like less than, let's see if I can do math here. It's like less than 1,200 points worth of Marauders and, 2,000 points of Champions, but they're a little bit tougher to take down. Anyway, very fun stuff. As I was saying, Belegar with that Revenge Incarnate, going to be decent with Hammer and Slayer type builds. Let's go ahead and just quickly have a look here. I am working on my overview of the Dwarfs. I'm just taking my time because I don't really play Dwarfs that much, so I'm trying to get some games in that I can watch, play some games myself to kind of get my own thoughts, as well as talk to some better dwarf players than myself. But anyway, let's have a look quickly here at Belegar. Rally, he's also got this one here, the Mighty Oathstone. I believe this used to only be one-time use. No, this one here, Revenge Incarnate, is only one-time use. But the Mighty Oathstone, if you keep this up, only 90-second cooldown, 25-second duration is pretty decent for a 27 melee defense and expert charge defense. That means charge defense against both infantry and large units. So, again, you combine that with something like Slayers. Slayers have charge defense against large. However, they don't have charge defense against infantry, so, you can help them out in that way. Giant Slayers don't have either, interestingly enough. Hammerers also don't have charge defense, so you can use that to buff them up. It also gives them quite a bit more melee defense, which again is one of the stats that they're sort of lacking in. So I have seen a few builds floating around. I'll see if I can get a replay using one with Belegar and some hammers to good effect, but potentially he's a pretty decent option and relatively cheap as well, only 1777 with everything here, including the Hammer of Angrid, which makes him a decent combatant. Does get disabled if his leadership gets too low, but he's a pretty good tank. He himself has expert charge defense, 55 melee defense, 120 armor, has one of the highest HP pools of any Dwarf Lord, second only to Thorgrim and Grombrindle. So yeah, overall pretty fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.